Hey guys, welcome to another episode of From Screen to Shelf. This is Gabe. I'm here with Chase, and we are doing another I'll Watch This If You Watch That. And today's films that we chose were The Prestige and
Maybe.
Cosmopolis. Maybe? What do you mean, maybe? So wait, Chase had me watch Cosmopolis.
Mm-hmm.
And I had him watch The Prestige. I'm kind of like on a Christopher Nolan roll with him because he saw Inception, Tenet, The
Mm-hmm.
Prestige now, so you might as well just finish Nolan's filmography at this point.
Just watch all of it now. He's an Academy Award winner.
Yeah, for sure. And you had me watch Cosmopolis, man. I think we both are excited to talk about these movies because we walked away with certain feelings with each one. At least I did with Cosmopolis, man.
Okay.
I'm
Here-
dying to talk about Cosmopolis. So I don't
Okay.
know who wants to go first.
I will, because you fell for one of my classic blunders.
What?
This is what I watched.
I forgot, bro. Yeah, because we
You
talked about
mentioned
The
at the
Big Short.
very end. Yeah, you mentioned
Oh,
it at the
shit.
very end of our conversation. So
Oh my god, you watched The Big
just
Short.
I watched The Big Short.
Okay.
But I texted
Reroll.
because I actually was, and then I was like, okay, what was the movie Gabe mentioned? Because it was on our underrated episode and the cast and everything. So I was like, fuck it. I turned it on, and I even texted Will. I was like, all right, I'm gonna mess with Gabe on this upcoming episode. So I did.
I was like, what do you mean? You're like, what do you thought? I'm like, is this like a Nolan trick? Like you're like into the whole prestige magician thing, or
it's like time is running forwards and backwards simultaneously.
Yeah, something's going on. Yeah, I do remember us talking. That was so like that was like 2 seconds where I think I mentioned like The Big Short.
The Big Short, yeah. But it got me wondering, and I am here to say, I fucking loved it. This is a great movie, man. This was a great movie.
I watch it once a year, man. That's how much I love that movie. It's such a good movie.
Really, really good. I will get my really only negative out of the way. Christian Bale character, I wanted more of, flat out. He starts the entire thing. I wanted more of him. I don't get enough of him. I get way more.
Too.
Fantastic. Like, that's really my only complaint that I have about the movie, and the only thing that really took any points away. I try to gauge things as like for what it like. This is why I tend to rate things higher than most people continuously. Is because I rate things for what it does, not what I wanted it to do or what it doesn't do. You know what I mean? Because it's presented to me as a package. I'm not gonna like think of it as a gift. If somebody gifts me a guitar, it's like I'm not gonna like, but it's not a bass. You know what I mean? Like,
makes sense.
You know, so I'm gonna gauge it for everything that's in there. But it is so hard for me to not want more of Christian Bale's character when he kickstarts the entire aspect of every character that you follow throughout the rest of the movie.
100%.
You know, like I just wanted, even if it was like 6 minutes more total of just seeing like how he is outside of the office, which you get none of that except for a super minor degree. You know, I wanted more of how he is as an everyman, not just how it's affecting the office. Steve Carell, it's kind of hard not to look at it as Michael Scott, not just because like that's what he's known for, but he kind of plays a much more serious and much more wealthy version of Michael Scott. You know, like he really does. Ryan Gosling's character, phenomenal. Brad Pitt, that actually took me a little bit. He looked so different in this movie.
Yeah, he does. And he's like very kind of subdued in this one. Like he's just very like introverted, kind of quiet guy.
Yeah. So like his character really good. He plays the character that he's trying to play really well. Ryan Gosling plays his character extremely well. I loved the bits, and I know you had kind of prefaced it because I listened very closely on that part during that one podcast where you guys were talking about you and Will. But like the parts where it's like, okay, if you failed to understand that, well, here's Margot Robbie in a bubble bath explaining it.
Yeah,
you know,
because that will keep your attention.
Yeah, and then they did the same thing with Selena Gomez. But one of my favorite parts of the movie is whenever he's questioning everything that's going on. Steve Carell's character.
Yeah.
Whenever he's going on, he keeps interrupting the guy at the press conference, and then he asks him a question, and halfway through his rebuttal, he gets the call. And Ryan Gosling's character is like, this actually happened. That isn't for the movie. That actually happened.
Yeah, it did. Then, like it was that scene in Vegas, right? Where like he was like screaming and like raising his hand during the conference.
Yeah, he's like, excuse me, I have a question. It was great, man. And then it really is one of the best character arcs I had seen in a movie because, and of course we always say like, I haven't really been going super spoiler yet. But it's without to say we typically do spoilers on this. But his specifically, Steve Carell's character arc in this is absolutely like I don't get why this wasn't talked about more. Maybe it was at the time it came out, but going from like, he's so excited to make money, that's all he's about, everything. That's really what you see. He's more or less a gambling man. You can tell.
Mhm.
He's addicted to the gamble of what he's doing,
Mhm.
shorting, stocks, this, that, trading, everything. It doesn't really say that, but you kind of get that hint. So as it progresses further and he's talking to one of the executives that's talking about what are they like CDOs, whenever he's talking
Oh, yeah.
about that, and then he's talking about like these ghost CDOs essentially and everything, and the
Mhm.
dude is acknowledging straight to his face that yeah, this is going to cause an economic collapse, everything like that, without saying it, and he puts it together and he's like, you're a fucking monster essentially,
Mhm.
because then he starts realizing, because most of these people start kind of realizing that they are gambling and shorting on the hopes that not just a neighborhood economy, not just the American economy, but they only get this big break if potentially, like Brad Pitt's character says it extremely well. Whenever like the two people that he's following are
At the
so excited
casino.
at the casino, he's like,
Yeah.
"You realize for every 1% the unemployment rate goes up, 40,000 people die. Think about that while you're getting your money." Is essentially what he's
Mhm.
saying. And then when that hits my Michael Scott, or fuck, why do I keep saying that? Steve Carell's character. When it hits Steve Carell's character, it's just such a powerful arc for those next 15 minutes. He
Yeah.
refuses to buy out. He refuses this. He refuses that. And then, dude, Christian Bale's character, it's such a minor part, but he raked in almost
Oh,
$450 billion, man. It's written on
insane,
that
man.
whiteboard. They never say it, but in that like
Mhm.
quick shot, it says like, what is it, like company evaluation or whatever,
The
and it was
equity of the
going down.
company. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
$479 billion. I
It's
bet
nuts,
that guy felt
man.
like a fool yelling at him. I would have gone in there kissing his bare naked toes. Like
Yeah.
I would have
Well,
been hailing him as a god.
it's interesting, like, so, like, the 2 things you pointed out, 'cause I agree 100%. I love the story arc with, like, especially Steve Carell's character, 'cause, like, he doesn't sell to the very end, right? He's
Yeah,
like
the
and I
last.
love that line where he's like, "You do realize, like, once we do this, we're gonna be just like them. Like, the people
Yeah,
that we talk shit about, it's like, we're gonna be just like them." And I think it's hard for him to kind of accept that.
yeah.
And, like, for Christian Bale's character, man, I just that he goes through a lot during the movie, right? Because this is, like, over I think it's, like, a 2-year time span, if I'm not
2 to
mistaken,
4.
like 2 to
Because I
4,
doesn't
like
he starts 4 years before for Christian Bale's
yeah, he does
character,
it
right?
early. He does it
Yeah,
super early, and he's like, I remember him playing the drums, like the, like it was something
yeah,
was going on where it was like, the bonds were like devaluing, but the
yeah,
prices to sell them were like going up. So like the system was all messed up. It wasn't making any sense. And
yeah,
he's like, playing Metallica on the drums, just pissed off. Like he's like, what the hell's going on? It's just
yeah,
he had a great performance, man. It
yeah,
was just
amazing.
he did an awesome job, and I think it got an Oscar or an Oscar
Oh, really?
nomination for screenplay for like best adapted screenplay, I think. Because it's
Oh, so
based
this
off
was
of
a
a
book.
book. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
based off of a book from I don't know if the guy the Michael Lowry's his name or no.
Interesting.
I
Maybe.
don't remember. Yeah, Christian Bale's character. I think that he either wrote the book or it's about him.
Oh, Michael
Um,
Berry, Dr.
Michael
Berry.
Berry. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's actually people follow him on Twitter about like economic trends and stuff like that. He
Michael Lewis
actually yeah, he
inside the
actually
Doomsday Machine.
I think a year ago he actually sold like three-fourths of his portfolio on
Really?
a bet. Yeah. So everyone started freaking out because they're like, what is he saying? And um but yeah, I mean, but the movie itself, man, it's just a fun it's interesting. It's like it's funny, it's dramatic, the pace is really fast. I'm glad you liked it. It's
Yeah.
it's it's honestly one I always say it's an underrated movie because a lot of people don't know about it. And it gives you a good sense of just how screwed up our market is sometimes
Yeah.
with what they were doing, with how easy it was for people to get loans. So it's bonkers.
Yeah, and how to quickly like dude, that was such a crazy good scene. I want to say it was Steve Carell's character. He's at the strip club and he's trying to
Oh,
explain to the strip
the
how
stripper
many
lady. He's like,
Yeah, he's
stop
like,
panting. I'm still gonna pay you. Like I'm just.
yeah, and
She's
he
like, I
just
own
keeps
3
going.
homes or something.
Yeah, and he's like telling her like, is that an adjustable rate or anything
Yeah.
like that? And she starts realizing. Yeah, that's
Yeah, like,
great.
right after it cuts to, he's like, "Yep." He's like, "Buy it all." He's like,
Yeah,
"It's gonna collapse." Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
and
great scene.
the thing I think that this movie is the absolute strongest in is tackling, which some movies, and I wouldn't say in this category, but in this realm of existence, fail to do, is they're overly complicated, right?
Mhm.
Whenever you're tackling certain subjects, or like people get too inquisitive, or like eccentric, I guess you could say, with the
Yeah.
verbiage and stuff, that's not as digestible for most people. But this does a fantastic job of making it a digestible movie that anybody could really follow. You
Yeah.
know, it's good. Literally 9 out of 10. I loved it that much. The only
Sweet,
thing is
man.
like it's so hard. It's like I said, I grade it for what it is. If I really didn't have this nag on it, 9.5, 9.8, it'd be an amazing movie, man. But the thing is I can't just not want more of Dr. Barry, of Christian Bale's character. You know, it's just so
That makes
hard
sense.
because you only really see him in the office
Yeah.
95% of the time. And that's cool, but he's like literally the only reason everybody else is doing what they're doing.
Mhm.
He started everything. So you would think
Yeah.
he would, but you end up following Steve Carell's character and everything, but that's cool. But yeah, that's really my only gripe about it. But otherwise, amazing movie. I had a great time with it.
Sweet, dude. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, threw
And
you for a loop,
yep, and you got me to watch Cosmopolis, right?
and you loved it.
Um, and I actually didn't watch Cosmopolis. I'm gonna throw something at you right now. I didn't. I actually watched something that you told me about. It's called Oppenheimer. No, I'm just kidding.
You-
I'm just
I thought you
joking.
were actually on the same wavelength at me because of the way that you threw
No,
that there. I was like,
no.
damn. He
I
watched
did
a
watch
different Cronenberg.
Cosmopolis.
You loved it. You can't lie.
Okay. So let me say this. There's a lot. Let me talk about what I really liked about the movie, and then I'll
Mhm.
get into my critiques about it. Um, the whole like, I mean, just this underlying theme that you see throughout the movie about capitalism, right? Like
Yeah.
this whole the protests, like the dudes with the rats, like the neon signs, and I think they're in Town Square when he sees kind of the capitalist kind of quote on the neon signs, like
Yeah.
just it's so good. Like that stuff is great. I think
Mhm.
he did a phenomenal job just kind of like playing that out until the end.
Yeah.
So the themes in regards to capitalism are freaking great. The pacing is actually really good too because there's
Mhm.
just always something
Going
happening
on.
with this dude. Like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
like it's just so weird because at the beginning it's like, "Ah, I want a haircut," and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna go get a haircut, but then he
Yeah.
meets like 20 people along the way
Yeah.
to get this haircut. So I did like the pacing of the movie because there's always something happening. It wasn't
Yeah.
like when you
You
told
can't
I was
really
kind of
look away.
concerned when you told me this just takes place in his limo the whole time. I was
Yeah.
kind of like that's like kind of dangerous to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you're just stuck in one environment. But I
Yeah.
think they did a really good job, like
Of
bringing in
spreading it out.
different characters. Yep, and spreading
Yeah.
it out. So that was really good. Robert Pattinson, man. I honestly, this is an earlier performance. This was like 2013.
Yeah. Around there.
This was yeah, before Lighthouse and all that stuff. I think he did a great job with this, man. This
Killed it.
kind of was under the radar. I think he did a great job with his performance. Um, and he killed it. I didn't have any complaints with the performances in the movie. A lot of actors that I've seen in other movies too, a lot of supporting actors that kind of popped
Mm.
up in this that I've seen before. I don't know their names off the top of my head, but they all did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Um, it's beautifully shot too. I mean, just like the freaking cinematography is great. Um, so this is my thing with this movie, dude. Two things. That ending. I'm usually fine with like non-conventional endings, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we talked about like No Country for Old Men, cuts to
Yeah.
black, and it's like I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
The I guess like I'm on the side of like you can't give me this dude's journey from I want a haircut to I have a gun to my head
Yeah.
and not tell me how it ends, man. Like you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like that really pissed me off. I was like, no fucking way they just
Yeah.
did this for real. Like I can get where some people maybe see kind of the artistic value in that.
Mhm.
I'm all for ambiguity and sometimes not knowing. Sometimes, I think that we are spoon fed and we don't always deserve an ending.
Mhm.
But I think this was just like it was such a journey, you know what I mean? From when he gets into the limo to where he ends up, that it's like you just left me with blue balls at the end.
Yeah. I feel
Like
it.
you didn't give me kind of like what, that climax that I wanted in terms of like what's happening with this character or what's going to happen with this character. So that kind of irritated. As soon as the credits hit, I was just like, no fucking way. I even rewinded it
Just to
to
make
see
sure
like
you
if there well, not just to make sure. I was just like, is there something I'm missing in terms of like the theme here or like with what he said or something? Like
Yeah.
I watched the whole so after the credits hit, I rewinded it back to when he went back up and he saw Paul oh my god, Paul Giamatti? I always
Yeah,
butcher his
yeah.
freaking name.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so I watched that whole thing twice because I was like, maybe
Yeah.
there's something here like I'm just not seeing in
Very
terms of
deep
like
scene.
subtleties. Very deep scene, and it's a very
Yeah.
philosophical scene, and I think I just didn't catch anything that like I think warranted just a cut to black ending.
Yeah.
Um, and that's I get that's the second you're touching on the second complaint I had with the movie is like you really need to be in the mindset to watch this movie.
Yeah.
I think if you had told me like maybe watch it when you're, like, in a really heavy dialogue mood, like,
Yeah.
or every philosophical mood, I maybe would've liked it better. I was
Yeah.
kind of, like, in a really chill, lax, like, I'm just gonna watch a movie kinda
Passive.
mood, and
Yeah.
it went too deep for me. Like, it was, like, getting
It's
too
very deep and very
too
quick,
deep.
like you said.
Yeah, it's very quick and very deep, very philosophical, and I will say some of the I don't know why he did it this way. Some of the verbiage with the characters are just it's just weird. It's
What do you
like,
mean?
you know this, I know this, I know
Yeah.
like, they keep saying stuff like that over, you know this, I know this," and I'm like, "Why are you guys talking this way?" Like, it
I
just
thought it was
it
supposed
takes
to
me
come
out of it
off
a
like
little bit.
robotic,
It is
because
very
of like
robotic.
yeah, I think that's at least what I took away because their acting performances are sometimes like physically stiff.
Mhm.
So I kind of took that away like to your corporate theme, corporate robots. It's kind of what how I was,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That's kind of what I took away from that personally, but I also could be just trying to defend David Cronenberg. You
No, I
know?
mean, I'm sure that you're right. I'm sure,
Yeah.
like, the characterization, right? I mean, like, corporate America's is very robotic and very
Yeah.
kinda, and then going back to Big Short, I mean, that's why those characters I think that's why they did well, right? They went against the
Yeah.
grain of this, like, this corporate robotic system where everyone was just kind of, thinking that, the system's going to keep doing what it's doing. And that's not
Yeah.
how, it panned out. Maybe that's kind of like what Cronenberg was going for. It's like, a lot of corporate types, they're just in like kind of what his character is like, just very much routine, right? It's like, I'm going to see the
Yeah.
doctor today. I'm going to go to the diner today. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And he
Yeah.
doesn't break his routine at all. I think some of the characters even pointed out where it's like, you see the doctor every day. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on there?
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it, it's just is that kind of that stuff kind of threw me off. It's a very deep and philosophical movie.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, it hooked me in. The moment it did hook me in was when he shot his bodyguard.
Oh,
Like,
dude.
yeah.
Yeah. That was
I was
wild.
like, "What the hell is going on here?" And he just
Yeah.
shot his and, like, you just see the but I think a lot of it was just a really good analogy for, because all that stuff's going on with Juan in the
Yeah.
background, right? In terms of, like, him losing money. He's losing hundreds of of dollars throughout the day from my understanding.
Yeah.
So, like, he's pretty much losing control. He's losing control of his money, and he's losing control of his life. Like, his wife leaves him, her so-called wife, because she's she's just as robotic as
Yep.
as he is. But yeah, he's just losing control throughout the movie, and I didn't get a resolution with that. I guess, like, it's like, you see this deterioration of, like, losing control. And I caught Paul whatever dude, I always butcher his name. What
Giamatti.
does Giamatti. I
Yeah.
saw him at the ATM, so I'm like, "Okay, this is the dude that's gonna" there's a quick glimpse where you see him at the ATM. I was like, "Holy shit." I was like,
Yeah.
"That's Paul Giamatti."
Yeah.
I was like, "That has to be the dude that wants to kill him."
Yeah.
So, like, I just didn't get that, like, I needed, like, some form of epilogue, man. I feel like it was just getting there. I thought something climactic was about to happen and then just
Like an
cut to
extra 2
black.
minutes. Yeah.
Give me, like, extra 2 I would have been fine if you just shot him there and walked off and then
Yeah.
cut to black, like, I'm fine with that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Just
like
something.
something,
Yeah.
because I don't know what did you think about it cutting to black at the end?
It pissed me off.
Okay, so you're on the same page with me then.
Yeah. I don't like movies that end that way, but the thing is 99.999% of the rest of the ride was so fun. It was so different,
Mhm,
so creative, so Cronenberg, and even a little bit different from his usual Cronenberg. It's more of his like twisted mind type of Cronenberg versus just like, here, I'm going to manipulate somebody's body and anatomy, type of
mhm.
Cronenberg that you got a lot in the 80s to 90s. So, because I mean, I said it recently in my ranking video, but like really, like late 2000s to now, Cronenberg is really some peak Cronenberg, man.
Yeah.
It really is, especially because he's like, fuck it, I'm Cronenberg.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
I'm just gonna do what I want. Yeah.
I'm gonna do what I want, and he has a very creative mind, like his son, like and his son does too.
Hmm.
So it's just Cosmopolis. I heard so many mixed things about it, that it was just bad, that it was this, that it was that. But I appreciate it so much just with how zany it is, how robotic
Hmm.
it is, how this and that and the third. There's just so much going on that just makes it so much fun. Just so
Hmm.
much fun.
Yeah, and it's I guess another way to view it too is at least when you talk about rating, like you said, the package, right? Like at least for
Yeah.
me, rewatchability is a big thing for me in terms of
Yeah.
like a rating. So I
Yeah.
think that's what would hurt my rating. It's like you really
Yeah.
need to be in the mindset to watch this movie. Like you have to
Yeah.
be in a certain mindset and like really
Yeah.
prepared to watch it. So like, I mean, I'd give it like a oh man, this is hard. Between like a 6.5 or 7. Like I am torn.
Really? Okay, that's better than I thought
Yeah,
you
like I
would.
mean, like I
I thought you were
honestly
gonna be
think
with like maybe a 2.
no, 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 no. Like
Yeah.
I'd give it like a 6.5. It's like if I was in the mood for it, like if you told me like before, like this is a pretty deep philosophical movie, pay attention, and
Yeah.
I'd waited to watch it when I was in a mood to watch it, like I maybe would have had a higher score, but like it's just
Yeah.
like I was just so
You're like
I'm like, bro, this is so deep. I'm like, oh my god, and they're so
Yeah.
robotic with the delivery. So I'd give it like a 6.5.
Yeah, that's very
I think
solid.
I don't know if I could. I don't think I'm ever gonna be like, let me watch Cosmopolis again. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
no, for
it's
sure.
because it's just one of those movies that
It's a one-time experience.
it's a one-time experience, and there's
Yeah.
movies I love that are like that, you know what I mean? That
Yeah.
I wouldn't watch again, but it's like I get it has a purpose, and damn, I mean, it would have gone up like 2 points if he gave me like a conclusion, like it just gave me tell me what the hell happens,
Yeah.
man. I don't
I'm honestly
understand the
surprised you
thematic
did.
element of it. Huh?
I thought you would have. I honestly, I'm surprised you liked it that much outside of the ending docking so many points, because that's totally fair. I thought just the zaniness from like the conversations, like that's one of my favorite scenes when he's in and out of the limo with all the other people constantly, you
Yeah.
know, and just
I
the dialogue.
I like dialogue. I'm a big dialogue
Yeah,
guy. So, like, I think we were talking
yeah,
about in the Dune review that Denis Villeneuve had a news article where he's like, "I don't like dialogue," and I'm like, "How don't you like
yeah,
dialogue?" Like, I personally love like Quentin Tarantino. If it's a 15, 20-minute dialogue scene, I'm all for it.
yeah,
And the writing in this is really good. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's really he's a good writer, and I think he really fleshes out the themes that he's trying to lay out for the audience.
yeah,
So that I think that's what helped it, but it's just yeah, that ending, it's like you can't do that. I don't
yeah.
understand, like, the point of that, and maybe someone can help me understand it, I don't know, but it just that ending wasn't for me, it just really pissed me
No, that's very fair, man. That's very fair. Well, I'm glad. I honestly thought you would have came back and been like, dude, what's like, because it's a Cronenberg movie. So I had to throw one that was a little bit out there, but I also wanted to throw you out there because I know that you really liked his performance as Batman. So that was the
Mhm.
biggest reason I threw it your way. It's like, let me give him something that was like just mid Twilight. You know what I mean? Like towards the end of his Twilight career,
Yeah, because I
because
mean,
it's very different.
it's very different. I mean, I really liked him in Lighthouse. I think he was, like,
Yeah,
fucking
he's great.
phenomenal in that movie and The
Yeah.
Batman, and this was obviously, like, earlier, so I think this is definitely, like, him shedding out of that Twilight kind of, box that he
Yeah.
kinda put himself in at the time.
Now he's
Um,
Batman.
yeah, now he's Batman, and he's a solid actor. He's an actor I respect, and I think he's it's just he just had some shitty projects when he first started out.
Yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely.
it's a solid movie, and I respect Cronenberg. I think he's a great filmmaker. I think you and I maybe just have differences in terms of like where we would rate some of the movies because like
No, for
Eastern
sure.
Promises is like probably one of my favorite, and A History of Violence too. But
I
like
shouted
Eastern
you out in that.
Promises. Oh, did you?
My ranking, yeah, because I gave it S, and I was like, if I said something about like Gabe would be pissed if I didn't put this up here.
Oh, such a good movie, man.
Yeah,
Such a good movie.
really
So
good.
yeah, Cronenberg is just he's a great filmmaker. So it's hard even like if it's a movie that's like as weird as this one, like I still can't even with its faults, it's like there's
Yeah,
still something good in that you're gonna find. Like, there's no way I'm gonna walk out of this and give it like a 2 out of 10. The writing was like, it's
great.
it's
Yeah,
it's
very
great.
good.
It's fucking
Yeah.
phenomenal. So, yeah, maybe he'll do a director's cut and give me a fucking ending though one day. Hopefully, I don't know.
He's
I'll
gonna film
rewatch
it in
it
his
for that.
backyard. He's just gonna film it just for you in his backyard.
Yeah.
Just
So
tweet it
we'll
out.
see.
Yeah. Well, that'll be good, guys. As always, We put up. I just noticed this. We put corporate on corporate to a degree. I just kind of put that together.
Oh, yeah, cool little
It's kind of
corporate
a good
theme.
theme. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that was a
good.
good theme. You hit me with a twist today, man.
Yeah, I did. That
So
is
we'll see what we do next week. We'll maybe post it in the Discord or something, what we'll do next week.
Yeah, be super exciting. And as always, like I like to say, somebody has yet to give us some recommendations outside of the Discord server. Comment down below. Let us know. If you've been following the Versus episodes for a little while, you've probably come to know what I like and what Gabe likes for sure. Maybe even what Will likes, but whatever you think, put it down in the comments below. Let us know. Issue a challenge, a community Versus. That'd be awesome.
That would
We'll
be
shout
cool.
you out. Everything. Yeah, give us one each. Chris, I know you listen. Jewel, I know you listen. Comment down below and let us know. As always, appreciate every single one of you guys.
See you guys.